Madam Acting President, teachers in this state are not clear on what to teach, the standard in which to teach it, and there is enormous disparity between what is being taught, and as a result, those children from socioeconomic hardship are not being given the employment and further study opportunities they deserve. The teaching system favours those from elite backgrounds, and it's unacceptable. This is not a problem brought about by teachers. Our students are going backwards, and it's our school system and education leaders who are responsible. The current system encourages teachers to meet learners where they are at. Effectively, teachers are being advised to lower standards for those already falling behind. It's been reported that some aspects of the curriculum are so vague, teachers could spend a lesson or a year on the content. This ambiguity, brought about by a skills-based rather than a knowledge-based curriculum, is leading to enormous variability in the content South Australian school students are exposed to, with the effect that the inequity between the quality of education and thus the employment outcome between those with privilege and wealth and those from socio-economic hardship is growing. At the start of the century, the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development's Program for International Student Assessment test results showed that 12% of Australian Year 5s were considered effectively unable to participate productively in life due to poor literacy levels. This rose to 20% as of 2018, and by 2030 the figure is predicted to shift up to 25%. Learning First, a public schools research group, produced evidence to show that targeted teaching exacerbates the learning gap between low and high socio-economic young people. It encourages inequity and fosters prolonged disadvantage. Students from disadvantaged backgrounds should not be taught at a lower level than their elite peers. We know these children begin with lower vocabulary counts, have less reading material at home and less opportunity for extracurricular activities. Meeting them where they are at just perpetuates inequity, and we have the research to back this up. Grattan Institute research suggests that in Grade 3 there is a 10-month gap in NAPLAN results between students whose parents have a high educational background and those that don't. By Grade 9, that gap has extended to over 2.5 years. Yes, children need appropriate scaffolding and support, but unless they are exposed to the same high-quality materials, what chance do they have to catch up? South Australian students deserve an education that puts equality over autonomy and flexibility. Rigorous academic standards should apply regardless of student background. Dropping standards, providing easier books to read, assigning lower-level tasks is setting children up to fail. A 2018 report by the New Teacher Project affirmed this with the statement, "Kids serve schoolwork now that honours their aspirations for the future." The ABC reported on the Australian Education Research Organisation (AERO) report this past Tuesday, the 18th of October, that the majority of Australia's Year 9 students use punctuation at a Year 3 level. According to the report, 85% of Year 9 students are constructing sentences at or below the level expected of students 2 years below them. The AERO chief executive has suggested these atrocious outcomes are the result of a loss of the systemic teaching of writing. Another report by education consultant Vibhuti Taneja reads, "Traditional standardised teaching is effective, increases levels of healthy student competitiveness, gives clear direction to their education, instills discipline, routine and productivity in learning." When the priority shifts to autonomy, variation and flexibility, the results are immediately dropping. Globally, countries that have pursued this progressive agenda of targeted learning have seen poor results. Finland is experiencing 3 decades of declining educational outcomes and increased inequality. France has for the past 2 decades seen an ongoing decline of educational outcomes, with those most poorly educated communities being worst affected. How much more evidence is needed before we halt the pursuit of an ineffective agenda? Contrastingly, according to the earlier mentioned OECD student assessments, China, which has robust, standardised, knowledge-based teaching, beat every other nation on scores for literacy, maths, science. Other countries that performed above average, Singapore, Latvia, Korea, Estonia and Taiwan, all pursue a strict, standardised curriculum. Our young people should never be underestimated. They deserve to be challenged, stretched and rewarded, no matter the socio-economic background that they come from.